some people are born with natural leadership qualities. And if they already have those, then they have the potential to be an even better leader because they're already ingrained in them. They kind of come in their DNA. Can leaders be made if they are not born that way? I think it can if they're motivated to want to be a good leader. So if they don't naturally have the skills, there needs to be the motivation there to want to lead effectively, to want to build good teamwork and a good culture that people want to work for. I mean, when we look at the statistics, 80% of the reason why somebody looks for another job is because of a poor relationship with their direct manager, right? So if I'm not making it a fun place to work, people don't want to work for me, they're going to go find another job, right? Of course, that affects our productivity, our profit, everything else in the business, right? And I think that, what is a good leader? First thing is anybody following you? Do you have people behind you? And are they behind you because you're dragging them along or because they want to follow you? And I think some of the essential qualities of being a good leader is, number one, being flexible and open, listening to your people's needs. And so you have to ask questions. Sometimes people say to me, well, people don't seem happy. Well, have you asked them why they're not happy? Have you asked them what their issues are? You got to find out. Well, if I ask that, what if I can't do anything to change it? Well, sometimes by just asking the question, it makes people feel like you care. I think the other big quality is that people have to trust you. They have to, if you say you're going to do something, you have to actually follow through on it. You have to keep the promises that you make. And one of my biggest pet peeves that I really appreciate in a leader, and I make sure that I always do, is to give credit where credit is due. Recognition, I feel, is extremely important. Not just good job today or giving a high five, but really explaining to people what they did that was above and beyond, why it's so important, and why I care about it, and why I would love other people to emulate that. On the flip side, you've got to give the constructive development needs as well. If you don't do that, you're giving a really disservice to your staff. And then you complain that they're not accomplishing the goals the way you want them to, yet they don't know what the issues are. So, at the end of the year, you give them their performance appraisal and say, well, you didn't do this as good as I expected you to, or you didn't seem as focused, or, well, what wasn't I focused on? What else were you looking for? What did you want to see? Some people won't even ask those questions, but it's our job as the leader to provide that specific feedback. If I tell people at the beginning of the year we're going to play football, and then I switch it halfway through and say it's basketball, I got to tell people it's basketball. They're not going to know what rules to play by if I don't tell them the game. So we need to be honest with people too.